Okay, I'm gonna make a Flet app because even when the task is easy, it gets complicated to go. So I decided to demo real time. Open up GitHub. I've put my template in my GitHub. Here you see Clupo. Go to repositories and you should see the subtitle edit here. Click it. Here I've already created a Python file. This one is called flat transcribebase.py. Download it. Got it here and is saved in my download folder. So Control X, cut it. For your case, you should have a project folder ready. Just name it flat sub. Control V. Actually, you can replace it. There should be nothing here. Here I just got the file flat transcribe base. Usually I won't keep this name. You see that there are also something base1 and whatever file, just ignore them because I did it in Sublime Text and these are just the project configs. Otherwise, if you code with VS Code, you wouldn't see these files. But even in VS Code, you still get a project folder. So your project folder is just like this one. Let's say flat sub. Just name it this way. Here you see the app name is also the project folder name, if otherwise stated. After downloading my Python file, simply F2 here and rename it as main. And it should be fine because we'll run the app through this main.py instead of every time typing the file name flat transcribe base. But still, I'll keep this file flat transcribe base, this one. In case I've finished working on this main.py, of course I'll save in this main.py because it's my work in progress, right? In between, I'll save a new version called something 1234. It's just the ongoing file sequence. Just in case something went wrong, you could still go back to a certain stage referring to that version number and grab that Python file and make changes, so that you don't need to rework and forget what you've done. I'm sort of adopting this approach to keep track of my development process. Pretend that you've got all your files and you go to this one, Ctrl C, Ctrl V to make a new copy. Hit F2 and type main. Then you'll start coding on this main.py. Open Sublime Text. In my case, I think it's better to show in a newly created environment. So I just go back and make a new one. Alright, now go back to my original flat subfolder. Since I want to create a new virtual environment that's also named flat sub, so simply F2 and add underscore in front. That means I'm not using the original folder. Instead, I create a new one. Alright, you can either go to your target directory, right click, new, and then add a new folder, or you can do it in command prompt. Here I just use command prompt for everything because I'm doing a coding vlog. In this case, I go to G drive, mkdir, make directory, simply create a folder. What's the folder name? Is flat sub, which is this one. But since I added an underscore to negate this folder, so I opened a new one. That's what it means. Alright. Create now. Here you see just deleted. In this case, remember what I said. We want our project folder to be the same as our environment folder, right? So simply python -m length to create a virtual environment. This environment is called G drive flat sub. Alright, then you should see a newly created virtual environment. Yep. So you see there's a folder called flat sub, right? Click inside. There's the folder lib scripts. Click inside scripts and you see this Python file, which is what we need to activate our virtual environment. Once we create this flat sub environment, we'll go to the original underscore flat sub folder, the one that we put an underscore to negate up front. Indeed, we only need to grab these two files. This one is just where you download from Clupo's GitHub. For this main.py, simply click it and copy to turn it into main.py. Then we'll be coding on this main.py, right? That means this is the current working file and this is the backup file. Now Ctrl C, copy it and drag it to this flat subfolder. Ctrl V. Alright, actually you won't see this folder because that's what I did before. this Flet subfolder, which is the virtual environment, and also your project folder is what we are going to work on. All right. Now, when you scripts activate, and you should be activating the G drive environment Flet sub. All right. In this environment, let's take a look at this pip list. Let's see what's inside. There should be nothing inside, only the pip package. Yep, only pip 24. Well, this pip version is depending on your current Python version. Since my Python is 3.12, my pip version is different from yours. What if you want to upgrade pip? Simply python-m pip install -- and then upgrade pip, and it'll upgrade to the latest version. Alright? Now we can exit and deactivate. Now open the text editor, which is Sublime Text in this case. But if you're using Visual Studio Code, just remember, point your project folder to this Flet sub project folder. Everything else should be more or less the same. Okay, let's open a script. You shouldn't see any code because you probably haven't created any project. Simply Ctrl-Shift-N, create a new project. Okay, did you see the project? Nothing shown, right? So let's add folder to project and point to G drive, the USB drive that contains the Flet subfolder, which is this one. Select folder and you should see something like this, right? Then go to project, save project as. Alright, let's take out our project folder, which is Flet sub here. Open it and save it as Flet sub. Okay, save it and close it. If you go back to your project folder, you should see there's already a Flet sub project file, which is the file that shouldn't be there if you're not using Sublime Text. Here, assume you're using Sublime Text because it's free to use. If you prefer something more complicated like VS Code, that's just fine. Alright, once we open the text editor, here is Sublime Text. Simply go to the main.py, this one. You see in main.py, there are a bunch of packages. Now we need to install these packages. Now I'll show you in and out. Alt-T, open a terminal. Now we are in G drive Flet sub, right? Which is the project folder we just did. Simply scripts activate. The environment is activated, right? Which is in the last video where it wasn't activated before. Because if your environment has the same name as your project, then you can just scripts activate, right? Otherwise, you need to go here and look for your virtual environment folder and then activate it. That's cumbersome, and that's why I'm showing you this. Alright, let's say we want to run this Flet file, which is already done here. Okay, let's say Flet run. We expect to see an error. Here, why Flet is not recognized? Because we haven't installed Flet to our environment. So how to install Flet? You can either -m pip install Flet and then other packages like dip translator, NLTK. There's NLTK. We don't need to install RE and pavlib as they are already built in. We also need pandas as it will be used later on. Simply hit enter to run, or usually I won't install this way because I don't know the backend, right? There's chance that it won't work. So I deactivate and exit, go back and usually open another terminal, come here and make sure where you want to install those packages. Alright, so go back to the Flet subfolder, scripts activate. Actually, oops, typo, nothing wrong. Yep, after activating it, just pip install Flet dip translator. Why we use dip translator? Because our app is an app that translates subtitles, right? So we need to translate. Inside dip translator, there should be a Google Translate. Let's check it out. Dip translate. In case you forget the package name, no big deal. Just type Python and then dip translator. I'm not sure if it's there. There we go, dip translator. Here it says pip install dip translator. Oh, it's not an underscore, it should be a dash instead. Doesn't matter, dash. Like I said, there's NLTK, right? In case you need to tokenize to chop a sentence, which is just chunking, That's why we need NLTK, so just install it as well. Okay, let's install pandas as well. As I speak Cantonese, I'll also install PyCantonese. I need Japanese as well, so install Genom. Oh, remember there's also PyArrow for pandas users. PyArrow will make reading a table faster. Okay, enter. I know the setup can be daunting, especially for beginners. I still remember when I was a beginner, I also had the feeling, wow, the backend is intimidating. But once you got it set up, everything else will be smooth as silk. Okay, it's done. Now deactivate it and go back to Sublime Text. Just go back to my Flet apps folder. See, something's added. Let's take a look. So many things have been added. Anyway, move on. Now Alt-T, open a terminal here. Let's try running this out. Flat run, still doesn't work. Oh, I see. I forgot to activate the environment. No wonder. Scripts activate, then flat run. What if you don't use main.py? When you flat run, you need to type your file name, which is not handy. That's why you see me name it main.py. It takes quite a while to load for the first time. Now you see the app is coming out, where this whole interface is already there when you load a template containing these codes. Let's briefly go over what these codes do. Basically, you press the upload button. Let's say pick a subtitle file, open it. Now you should see the content is shown. This is your file's absolute path and its content within, which is just your subtitle. Here is just my subtitle. Your subtitles may be different. In this sub, you can see these lines are considered as one sub. This sub has 3 languages. You probably don't have these two, which it may look like this, alright? Anyhow, it looks like this because not many people have 3 or 4 languages in one sub. Now, this is one sub, this is the second sub, and this is the third sub. So what pattern did you discover? You see the first row for a sub is the numerical index, which is 1. The first sentence is 1, the second sentence 2, and so on. For each sub, the second row is, what did you see? It's a timestamp, which is from the start time, the time the words are spoken, all the way to the time when the speech is over. In between, there's an arrow symbol, alright, where you see in the second sub, this second row, they are all the same, right? This is called timestamp. For the third sub, this second row is also a timestamp, and so on for the rest of the 200 subs. Okay, now the third row of each sub is just the subtitle content. Like I said, there may be only one line of sentence, right? Let's go back to the first row. For this one, the third row is language 1, which is the first language of this sub. Okay, take a look at the third row of the second sub is also language 1, alright? If we have language 1, we can also have language 2, which is the fourth row of each sub, that's language 2. Move on to the fifth row of each sub, it will be language 3. Usually, we only use 3 languages at max. Normally, when put in subtitles, you won't put 5 to 6 languages, right? Even if we just got 3 languages there, we've already covered a lot of space. That's why we only have 3 languages. Here, we just need to remember what the first row, second row, third row, fourth row, and the fifth row do. Just close it now and take a break, and move on later.